everyone. My name is Ray Jean Galiato Cabahog. I'm a political science student, and I just remembered that we are about to celebrate or commemorate the People Power EDSA Revolution. This coming February 25th, we will be celebrating the 37th anniversary of the peaceful movement, and I just think it's quite an interesting time to be celebrating that, in consideration of the times. The last election that we had was the most divisive election that I have ever lived through. I truly believe that it divided the country, and a lot has happened since then. We've had discussions of historical revisionism, or rather issues in that lane, as evidenced by the two films that came out boasting two different angles or narratives of what truly happened in martial law. And considering that we now have another Marcos in the presidential seat of power, I think it's important to understand why we are celebrating the People Power EDSA Revolution and why it is important. So let's dive deep, I guess, into that. In 1986, millions of Filipinos in different walks of life gathered at the Epifanio de Santos Avenue, commonly known as EDSA, to peacefully march in calls for the end of then-President Ferdinand Marcos's dictatorship. But this movement was not confined only to the borders of Manila. Numerous nonviolent demonstrations took place in various cities in the country. These demonstrations stood for over a span of 4 days, and not only did it end Marcos's 20-year regime, it also heralded a new era of real freedom and democracy. On February 25th, the Philippines will now, as I said, celebrate the 37th anniversary of the restoration of the Philippine democracy. Now, under Marcos Jr.'s presidency, it is quite ironic to see that the one sitting on the presidency signing away the proclamation declaring the People Power EDSA anniversary a special non-working day in the country is the very man who was ousted, along with his family, out of the Malacanang. But regardless of the fact that another Marcos is in the seat of presidential power, and regardless of all the arguments surrounding the topic of martial law, it should never be forgotten how the People Power Revolution in EDSA changed the course of Philippine history. And it should be embedded in national consciousness, protected from the threats of historical revisionism. So the foremost reason why the People Power Revolution is commemorated is because it signaled the end of a dark and bloody period in the Philippines, ushering in the era of freedom and democratic restoration, which we continue as Filipinos to enjoy today. It was one of the most impactful political events in the Philippines. The revolution ousted Marcos Sr., putting an end to his dictatorial regime marked by human rights violations, corruptions, cronyism, propaganda, among others. It reinstalled democracy in the country and paved the way for the ratification of the 1987 Constitution, which we continues to make use of today, highlighting the rights and the freedoms of Filipinos to be protected by law. It brought about reforms in the political, social, and economic spheres of the country, and over the years, the EDSA People Power Revolution anniversary allowed us, as a nation, to honor and remember those who fought and sacrificed for our freedom today. The 1986 People Power Revolution also stood as the matchstick that ignited a fire of peaceful protests in a world thick of fascism, violence, and corruption. It was a series of days that Filipinos manifested to the entire world how their unity and courage could make a change in the most peaceful of ways. It was a trailblazer, setting an example for the first ever non-violent, bloodless revolution, and it called for reforms through peace. We became the world standard for a peaceful revolution. History will say that many countries followed suit. For instance, in Germany, this will take the form of the dismantling of the Berlin Wall. Now, what is our connection to the dismantling of the Berlin Wall? Well, the Berlin Wall, which divided the country from 1961 to 1989, obviously it was dismantled on the heels of the EDSA People Power Revolution. And as a matter of fact, the German government has given the Philippines a section of the wall. Aside from that, we have South Korea, whose strongman Chun Do-hwa faced huge rallies against him in the aftermath of EDSA, which led to a direct election of a president in the heels of democratic reforms. Aside from that, communist regimes were also overthrown in countries like Romania, years following the peaceful revolutions of EDSA. Lastly, a very important reason why we're celebrating the EDSA People Power Revolution is because, first of all, commemoration means recalling and showing respect for. And the EDSA People Power Revolution is an annual opportunity to strengthen the truth and prevent historical distortion that may lead to history repeating itself. As we enjoy our rights, our freedoms, our truths today, so should we safeguard it. To be forgetful is very dangerous, and it is important to stress how significant it is to resist from injustices and disinformation, if only to honor those or commemorate those who lost along the way of the struggle for truth. Especially in these days where power rests in those who had history of abuse and corruption, and in the age of a very threatening, sorry for the chicken, in the age of a very threatening historical revisionism and a waning of belief in the power of the EDSA People Power Revolution, more so should we use opportunities like its celebration to remind the country, sorry for the chicken. Anyways, more so should we use this opportunity of celebrating the People Power as a Revolution to remind the country of how, once upon a time, we became the victors of truth, freedom, and democracy, and how today we have the choice to keep it that way. Regardless of where you stand in the political spectrum, regardless of where you are in the political division that I think we have in this country, what happened happened. And we should not glorify nor demonize any character that played a part in the period of martial law, or any periods in our history for that matter, because we now have a responsibility and we owe it to the people that came before us to safeguard our democracy and our freedoms and our rights. And we can't just enjoy them, we have to protect them. And I hope this coming People Power EDSA Revolution Day, we remember that. We should remember that, and we should accept what has been and look forward to making a better tomorrow. That's cliche. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Have a great day.